Good night, good night, good night, and welcome to Fitness Focus with Chau, Hybrid Magazine's newest podcast where we talk about fitness with just about everyone from the fitness world. Tonight we have a special treat once again. Tonight we're going back to dance, but we are looking at dance from a different angle, and from that angle we welcome Maria Davis. Welcome, Maria.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a good day, so I'm good.
That's always good to hear. That's always good to hear.
Yeah.
Um, So you're a dancer, but not exactly the dance that, is very popular in Trinidad a little bit. But how long
Yeah.
have you been dancing?
So I've been dancing since I was 4 or 5 years old. I started
Mm.
off with ballet, the usual ballet, jazz, and actually gymnastics. I did them all at the same place, Sarah Lambert School of Dance and
Hmm.
Gymnastics in South. So that's where I started.
So you're a gymnast too?
I used to be. I definitely wouldn't call myself that now, but once upon a time.
So how did you start? Did you say, "Mommy, I want to learn to dance," or did your parents just enroll you?
Funny you should mention mummy because mummy is the reason I started dancing. My
Mm-hmm.
mom used to dance. Her name is Suzanne
Right,
Romano Davis, and she was a big dancer in her days.
right,
She danced with a lot of the senior heads of dance in Trinidad and traveled. She went to India. She went to a bunch of different places dancing, and it's something she wanted to pursue full time um, for her career. But when she got into her 20s, at the time, my grandparents couldn't afford to send her to go to New
mm,
York. She wanted to go to New York. Her idol was Debbie Allen. So she wanted to be in fame like everybody else, and she couldn't. So she ended up
right.
going into finance. And well, I saw her dancing growing up, and I saw my sister dancing. So I was like, well, I had a dance too.
I hear that. I understand that completely. But something interesting, you
Hmm.
also do yoga.
Yeah. Okay. So I
Let's
think I
talk
need to.
about that.
Yeah, I think I need to clear this up a little bit.
Yes.
Um, I did mention that I do yoga. However,
Mhm.
I'm not like I would like to get certified eventually, I think.
Right.
But yoga is something I kind of fell a little bit in love with during the pandemic, actually.
Hmm.
Because back in the day, I would say I tried yoga when I was like in my late teens, early 20s. Because I was like, yeah, yoga, everybody does yoga, I should try it. But I was so self-conscious and focused on like losing weight and looking a certain way, and I was like, yoga is not gonna make me skinnier, or yoga is not gonna do this, so I don't need yoga. But now I'm like, I want peace of mind. So yoga, I fell in love with it during the pandemic because it's the perfect way to like just get my mind settled to start the day. It wakes my body up. It gets my muscles
Right.
activated without like jerking all my joints and everything before I go into the day because I teach a lot online and that requires me dancing in my living room on tile, which is not suitable for dance. So
Right.
yeah.
So, as you said, it helps warm your muscles up and that kind of thing. So, but that brings me to my next question.
Hmm.
Both yoga and dance are based in movement, of course, from different aspects.
Hmm.
One follows an external rhythm, the rhythm of music and whatnot. One follows an internal rhythm, the rhythm of your breathing and whatever.
Yeah.
But how would you say the two of them complement each other?
That's a good question. I I think they complement each other perfectly because breathing is such an important aspect of dance, and I don't think it sounds like a no-brainer, but I don't think people really take into consideration how important breath is and how you breathe when you dance. So just like in yoga, there's different ways to breathe. Same thing in
Right.
dance. There's certain moments where you might slow down and you have more time to breathe, and then there's other moments where, let's say, if I was doing like a folk dance, where like a upbeat folk dance or like Afro-based movement, and it's
Hmm.
very upbeat and you're barely catching a break. You have to know how to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, like all the different breathing techniques. And it also helps with facial expressions too, because if you don't know how to breathe properly, your face could look very horrible. and it just won't be cute.
Right.
But no, outside of the breathing aspect of it, I think yoga has really helped with my like me being more disciplined about my mobility and
Mhm.
flexibility, because it's very easy to just like jump into a dance class or a rehearsal and kind of do a halfway warm up and then go with dancing. And yes, I'm flexible because I've been doing this for years, but like
Right.
practicing stretching daily is something that I really, really needed to start implementing into my as a daily habit, like into my daily routine, because I'm very
Right.
muscular and my I even though I'm a dancer, and I'm not saying a dancer has like a specific body type, but my build probably looks more of like a gymnast, maybe like I don't know, MMA fighter. I don't know, like that type of body build, that body structure. And to be able to dance, I really, really have to like stretch and do foam rolling and do all the different things to, keep the muscles malleable so that they could do what
Right.
they need to do in dance. So I think they work perfectly, and it also helps strengthen me. Yoga is very hard. People
Oh
get
yeah.
tied up. Yoga has me huffing and puffing and has my
Listen,
core shaking and legs wiggling. So, yeah, don't sleep on
you,
it.
you and I can agree with that. I'm a gym guy, and I'm lifting, squatting 1.5 times my body weight and all that kind of stuff. But you see, when
Yeah.
I first got into yoga, it was a challenge, but when I say it was a welcome challenge, I thoroughly loved it. It's tough. It is very tough. Those strong men and strong women who think that yoga is nothing, it is really tough, but there is, without a doubt, a sense of peace that comes with good yoga practice.
Yeah.
You know?
Agreed.
As
Agreed.
Anderson is saying, people often sleep on the yoga, which is very true. They underestimate it.
Yeah, they really do. I really think people have like probably like a stigmatized view of yoga, and it's like people are like, oh, peace and love, and, or like, oh, yoga is just for flexibility or whatever. But I think there's so many different aspects to yoga that people don't realize. Like it challenges you mentally. Like when you have to just be still. Like people don't know how to be still. People don't know how to just sit in silence, because then you have to listen to your own thoughts. Like the art of like just having to lay there and meditate and like accept what comes and like try to get it, like just like dealing with mental issues or struggles, and finding strength in the challenges and the positions
Yeah.
that you have to hold, and like trying to breathe through the stretches when they are killing you. Like so many different challenges. That's what I love about yoga.
When I say yoga is an essential core practice, that is, I'm not being metaphorical, I'm being literal. You see your core? that,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
your core is, it will get a definite workout. um I actually had written a little article of an intro to yoga to give people an idea. Look,
Yeah.
LaShawn is another very popular
Hey.
dancer and dance instructor, and
Hey,
she's saying she and all
LaShawn.
had real underestimated yoga. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. By the way, quick shout out to the Creative Collective podcast. That's actually Shamari. He's a DJ friend of mine, and he does,
Okay.
on his podcast, he does a lot of interviews with soca artists. He did Ricardo Drew the other day and that kind of stuff. So I just want to say good night to him. Thank you for tuning in, Shamari.
Hello.
Yes. All right. So from here on, I would like to do a little video interlude
Thanks, LaShawn.
of you doing a little solo dancing. All right. We're going to take a quick look.
Okay.
I know you want me every day, not only when you're lonely. Yeah, you see, you think you know me, but you don't even know nothing about me. Yeah, you see my thick thighs, lost when you look into my brown eyes. You see my little ways can make you switch sides. You never know the devil in the disguise, so why don't you stand up, baby? And tell me, do you want me on top? So So let me show you, I don't need to back it up. Don't wanna hold you, mold you, so just split you in half with my heart. I just wanna love on you, trust in.
All right. So I want to ask something about that. Big Up Maria by Reve. Did I get that right? Reve Paul?
That's actually correct. Because it's French, so yeah. Well,
Yeah.
most people, down here we say reveal. We'll pronounce the L's, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember my French lessons from, I won't say how long ago, but, long ago. So, two questions. First of all, well, one comment and one question. First of all, you were talking about your build. We see your build there. You're, a little bit more muscular than a lot of people would imagine as dancers, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we'll come back to that later on.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, what I want to ask is a very silly question. Did you choose that song because it reflected you? Because I heard a mention of thick thighs. I'm recognizing the quads and thing now.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm a quads banton. I respect the quads. All right. You see, look, Andy and all, them quads, look. You go to the gym and squat the whole gym. So did you choose that song as a reflection of yourself?
Funny enough, kind of, yeah. I heard this song and I love Georgia Smith. I like her work. I love her voice. And I just like heard the rhythm. It was very Caribbean. I got into my vibe, and then I heard the lyrics, and I was like, it makes me like. It felt good. It felt good. It just felt like when I did the choreography for that, it came very easily, which is not something that happens often. Like inspiration struck on that day. It really did because I struggle with choreography, like finishing choreography. And that song just like made me feel really good and all around. The tone of the music, the feel of the music, the vibe, it made me feel to dance. It just made me feel like me. And then when I came up with the concept, which wasn't anything grand, but it was just like an expression of my love for myself and like my self-worth and all these different things. So that was like the vibe of that. So yes, it kind of was like a little, love letter to me.
I am absolutely loving these comments. Reve says you got it, and she calls you the leg boss. You crazy collective. Them quads, bro.
They are genetic, believe it or not. They're genetic. I do not.
Yeah.
I think I only went. There was like a period. Funny enough, I did MMA for 2 years, and
Yes.
there was just one other girl with me, and I would have to go train with the guys in the gym. And that was the only time in my life where I went to the gym. And they were all excited about it because they were just like push me to the max. But prior to that, I did not. Like it was all genetic, and gymnastics helped tone my legs. And even later on, because during high school, I had to kind of sidetrack, sorry, but during high school, I dropped a lot of my extracurricular activities because the workload was like a huge adjustment for me, and I'm dyslexic. So I was like, I need more time to study. So I had to drop a lot of my extracurricular activities, and I gained a lot of weight. And it wasn't until maybe like Form 4, Form 5, I jumped back into ballet, which I never liked because of my legs, because I was like, I can't do ballet because my legs are too big. I jumped back into ballet, and ballet helped. Once I got back into ballet, it helped tone my legs and define my legs so much more. So yeah, ballet is the reason that they look the way they do right now. So.
Yo, well, by the way, on this MMA thing, that I have another question based on that, right?
Okay.
Does that mean I can hire you as a bodyguard?
A lot of people always make this comment, like I could beat up people and all these kind of things. Listen, I don't even know my full potential. I've only done like 3 MMA fights, and I have never like properly kicked somebody to this day. I don't know what I'll do. So I don't know. I don't know if I qualified enough.
Listen, I'm small and fragile, and I need somebody to protect me, okay? Good night. I think it's Gia Lauren Gomez.
Yes.
Right. I actually only know of Gia through a friend because she is one of my friends, I think best friend.
Okay.
Yeah, Janine Ruiz.
Yes, that's her best friend.
Musician extraordinaire. When I tell you, Janine is incredible,
Yeah, she's great, and she's a great person too. And
Yes,
Gia is my
she really
roommate, and
is.
also the
Hey,
TTT weather woman. So
so back to the video. I
yeah.
have a I have a question there, right? So, oh, so what style of dance is that? Is that like modern?
The famous question. I feel like this question is always tricky when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to like what style do you do, or like when I try to do classes, people always want to know what style is it? Is it hip hop? Is it this? Because I think in Trinidad specifically, when it comes to commercial dance styles, which for those who don't know, there's two tracks you could go through when it comes to dance, right? So there's, if you want to be a dance professional, that is. So there's the theatrical route, which is you join a ballet company, or you join a contemporary company or modern company like Alvin Ailey or like the American Ballet Company, and you tour with that company and you
Right.
tour around cities and perform in theaters. And there's the commercial route where you pursue more commercial dance styles like hip hop, performing in heels, basically anything outside of like the very rigid or classical. That's what I want to say. Outside anything, any styles outside of the classical dance styles. So like your Afro beats, your hip hop, your heels, your jazz funk, all these different things that would be in movies, music videos, artists, real tours. Those would be classified as commercial dance styles. And then when you train in the US and probably Europe, around the world, UK. And for me, from based on my experience, when I was in LA, a lot of classes just had the teachers' names as the classes. And when you go, you kind of just going in for a treat based on like how you know that choreographer to move, whether they're like an OG old school hip hop head that just is strictly hip hop, or like a foundational hip hop style like poppin' or lockin' or house or light feet, or like, unless it was like a foundational style like that, most people was just like, okay, well, my name is Maria Davis and that's my class. So to answer your question in a very roundabout way, my style is very mixed. It's influenced by all these styles that I've done over my life. Like I've done ballet, I've done jazz, I've done hip hop, and I've done a lot of the foundational styles, or tasted the foundational styles of hip hop. I've touched a little bit of flamenco. I did East Indian classical dance for 3 years at UTT. I did Caribbean folk. So it'll be influenced by all these styles that my body has experienced. When I hear music, I kind of just move how I feel, and whatever comes out, comes out. Because that's a big, that anytime I choreograph, that's what happens.
So basically, the best answer is freestyle.
Kind of freestyle is like if I put on music and had no choreography, but that was choreographed.
Okay, okay. My
So
apologies. My apologies. Thanks for the correction.
yeah,
Hey, listen, you live and you learn. I'm always up for learning.
good.
But the thing is that I definitely have to bring up. When you hit dance in Trinidad, we automatically think Latin. Every
Yeah,
dance thing is you go and you dance and it's a Latin thing and it's a Latin thing and it's a Latin thing. Andy, our creative director who I interviewed last week, he is, when I say he's a boss Latin dancer, he's a boss. I'm not even gonna lie, he's a dance instructor and everything.
yeah,
Shay, our producer, who you know,
yeah.
another boss, like, you
Extremely
know.
good.
So, but that's it, When you're gonna learn to dance, when you're gonna learn to dance in Trinidad means when you're gonna learn to Latin dance or
Yeah.
maybe ballroom. But you don't seem to have towards that. How come?
Um. So I will say, I think yes, when people hear dance, they think Latin, but they also kind of think like best village, folk,
Yeah.
or just ballet. I think people are exposed to as much as they allow themselves to be exposed to. To be quite frank, in Trinidad, I feel like there is a slight lack of initiative in terms of people's ability to like step outside and like see what else is out there, especially when we have the world at our fingertips. Like you have Google, you have Instagram, you have Twitter, you have YouTube, you have everything at the touch of your finger. You can just look it up and somebody knows somebody who knows something else. So there are a million dance studios, a million dance schools where you'll see we not only have Latin, because Latin does have a community, but there's so much outside of Latin. And I never, funny enough, I wanted to start going to Latin nights prior to the lockdown because um, as a dancer, and somebody who's tasted all the dance styles, I have an appreciation for every dance style, the ones that I've touched and the ones that I haven't touched. And I love Latin. And I think prior to leaving Trinidad to study abroad, I wanted to start learning salsa, I believe. And I started with, I can't remember, I tried to go to a dance class in South and it felt too basic.
Right.
Because I pick up quickly. So it felt a little too slow. So I wanted something like slightly more intermediate, where I could at least be challenged or like given like a more difficult option rather than just like the slow pace that class was. But I never like pursued it fully. I never found a more difficult class. And then I went away and did other dance styles. And I always wanted to get back into actually like learning it properly. But I never found the time, never found the place, never found, and I wanted to start going to Latin nights before the lockdown, but then COVID hit and it hasn't happened yet. So, but it's definitely something I want to get into because I love Latin dance. I could watch it forever. It's so beautiful.
All right. So Eva Luna said that most people aren't aware of how active the Latin community is here.
It's very active,
And
yes.
maybe my question stems from the fact that I have a lot of Latin dancers in my circle. I have, again, Andy, Shay. I have a whole bunch of friends. Some people I train, they do Latin dancing. One of my friends who I know through Hybrid, again, he does Latin and it's Latin dancing all around me. Andy says when people say dance, they usually mean wine, but
yeah, that too. That was the next thing.
I feel that's for me. Anytime somebody asks me when you're going to learn to dance, or when I tell somebody, don't worry, I'll learn to dance eventually.
Yeah.
It's always in reference to ballroom and or Latin. My best friend who's actually living in New York, he is or was like a boss Latin dancer. I don't know if he still dances, but when he was living down here, he was heavy in the community and stuff. So maybe it's just my own influence,
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I was saying. Like your understanding of what dance is in Trinidad is as a result of who's in your circle, who's in your environment.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of Latin people or people from the Latin community around you. Yes, Ava, I'm going to come learn from you, from the boss herself. So that's what you know. So like people who are around a lot of like West Village type dancers, they know the folk side of things. People who are around the hip hop dancers like only know, oh well, I go to XD or I go to L or wherever I go to train in hip hop specifically, or the more classically trained people like who go to Caribbean School of Dance or Bentley Potter, all these schools that, So it's just what is your point of reference, and information is easily accessible if you look for it, if you ask for it, if you take the initiative. So it's there. It's all there. It's all here in Trinidad. We have so much talent.
All right. So we are going to a little commercial break now.
Okay.
We have a little magazine out. We're going to talk a little, do a little video on that magazine. Let's take a look at it.
Have I ever been a victim of body shaming? I would say recently as I've gotten into fitness, especially in the Caribbean.
Have I been a victim of body shaming? Yes, I have.
Have I ever been a victim of body shaming? Definitely yes.
I have been a victim of body shaming.
I have been a victim of body shaming, especially when I was pregnant. Do pregnant women face body shaming or other types of ignorance?
Yes, I have been a victim of body shaming.
I have been a victim of body shaming.
Yeah, I've been a victim of body shaming quite often.
Interesting thing about body shaming is it doesn't take any one form.
I have been a victim of body shaming throughout my life, really.
Have I ever been a victim of body shaming? Yes.
So I gotta plug this every episode. That is actually about our magazine, Hybrid Body. It is our way of combating body shaming. In it, we have athletes, competitive and non-competitive, and I will always use that term because as far as I'm concerned, if you're in the gym, if you're at home, if you're working out hard, if you're working on keeping fit and you're dedicated towards it, I am considering you an athlete, even if you don't compete in whatever you're doing. So we have athletes, competitive and non-competitive. Mothers. We actually have a mother here who took pictures with us, both pregnant and post-pregnancy, in artistic, tasteful, nude photos, poses, and whatnot, as our way of saying, listen, this body shaming has to stop, you know? And from there, well, by the way, this is available from all of us on Team Hybrid, from any of the models. If you know any models who are in this, you can ask them about the magazine. They'll have the magazine available for you. And it will be available in select gyms soon also. So, Maria,
Yes.
have you ever faced body shaming?
Oh yeah. um, I think okay. Let me actually rephrase. I think for most of my life, I struggled a lot with my view of my body. I think because of what the career that I wanted to pursue, I always had a dislike for my legs. Funny enough, the same thing that people are like in awe of. I never liked them because they felt like they were constantly like holding me back from being better at what I was trying to do. So even when I went into UTT and started getting back into more serious ballet training again, after I like dropped it off for a really long time throughout high school, I only picked it back up in Form 4, Form 5 when I was like, yeah, I want to go to school for dance. My mom was like, well, you need to get back into ballet because I was only studying hip hop and Michael Jackson and Chris Brown and how they were dancing. I struggled a lot because a lot of the positions that you have to, ballet is about the lines. You have to be the lines, the lines. And I would always use the wrong muscles to do the exercise. Like I'd always be very quad dependent and use my quads to lift my legs. And that kind of created more overdevelopment in my legs. And I could never get certain positions right because my thighs were too big. Like I couldn't get my fifth position in ballet cross properly. I'd be so frustrated all the time.
Right.
Nobody ever directly told me, "Oh, Maria, this, that, and the other about your body." But I think it's something that I could have felt while I was in Trinidad before I left to go away. I felt like I always put myself out there in the dance community. You know, I would make my face known, at least. Like I would attend a lot of workshops, attend classes and train, but I would never be selected for gigs. And I knew it was because of my body. Like dance is very much about a look. And for a long time, you know, like your close friends, your parents, all their supporters will tell you, no, like you're so talented, that opportunity just wasn't for you. But the reality of the situation is like people will want the skinnier person or the more slender person or the taller person, the one with more longer legs. And I just didn't fit that look. So I didn't book a lot of gigs. I booked barely any gigs while I was living in Trinidad before I moved away. And the one time I heard I got verbal body shaming was when I attended a school in Miami. And the professor I was doing a ballet class. The professor she was a very like old ballet head, and I told her I was auditioning for another school, a performing arts school. I had the audition coming up in 2 weeks, and she looked at me and she was like, "You have an audition for there?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's in 2 weeks." And I was like, "Why? What's up?" And she's like, "You need to start." She's like, "You need to stop eating." She was like, "Only liquids." She was like, "Only liquids." She was like, "You're too big right now." She's like, you're gonna struggle to get in there. I don't know how you're gonna get through that audition." Like that was the first time I ever got like verbal body shame, and I was like, whoa. Right. But thank God, all through my life, I'd never gotten it like that. So I think I had like a stronger sense of self at the time, so I didn't take it too personally. But yeah, it's happened. But now I love my body because it's the one body that I have, and it's amazing, and it's strong, and it's beautiful, and it helps me do what I do. So
I'm looking at your moves. I mean, your body does exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And anybody who doesn't like it, I'll say this because you know what? We at Hybrid Caribbean love how your body moves. Your ability is far beyond anything I have. So
yeah,
you know, it's So basically, Anderson is saying, our creative director is saying that we would like to have you in our next body issue.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's
I'm
do it.
down.
Let's do it. Andy, take note, right? And we are very serious about
Yeah,
this.
I'm down. I'm
Yeah,
serious. Let's do it.
right. Lovely, lovely.
Yeah.
So, next question, moving on.
Yes.
You're how old again? And I have a reason for this, right? Go on.
I'm 26 years young.
Right. So the reason I have to ask you this is that you are also a dance teacher
Yeah.
at 26, at the
Yes.
young age of 26.
Yes.
That's quite an accomplishment. Huh? I'm just saying.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
But what was your start? How and why did you get into teaching?
Honestly, because I only like to be honest, I think ideally I call myself a professional dancer because first and foremost, my heart is in performance. I want to be on a stage, and it's not about like fame or attention. Like it's all about like the I don't know how to explain it. The transcendent feeling I feel when I'm on a stage, that adrenaline, that rush, I don't get it from anything else. It's just like another part of me that comes out when I perform because I'm just like in my element doing what I love. But in Trinidad, the opportunities are very... Huh?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
What were you going to say?
You talk. You're the interviewee.
In Trinidad, in terms of performance, well, pre-pandemic, the opportunities are very seasonal, which is carnival, obviously.
Right.
And they're very, what's the word? They're very like one type or one style of opportunity. And most times, whilst I love my culture, I love carnival bad, I love soca bad, as wine and jam as much as the next man in a fete. But I think in terms of performance, sometimes we don't get to see like the full potential of what dance could be on a stage, and it becomes very one-dimensional. And yeah, and then outside of carnival, there's like a gig here or there, and then it's the same names that get called for those gigs over and over again. So performance isn't very out there. So by nature, like teaching, those who can't teach, and it's not that I can't do it, it's just the opportunities aren't always present. So to make a living, I teach, and I do love teaching. I really do love teaching. I found a love for teaching. I kind of was resisting it a lot because when I moved back home from LA in 2018, I was heartbroken because I felt like I was, climbing my little ladder of progress over there and auditioning and doing everything I needed to do, and then I had to move back home because of my visa, and I knew I would have to teach when I came home, and I was like, no, I want to teach later on in life. I don't want to teach now. But I applied for all these studios and started teaching little by little, and I started to find a greater because I feel like putting myself in the teacher's position, I get to now see obviously things through the lens of a teacher, and then it helps my view as a student. So when I go take class now, I'm no longer thinking all the things that I used to think before, like I'm nervous, I need to impress, I need to get this perfect, this needs to be right, the teacher's watching me, all these stupid things I used to think before. Now being a teacher, I'm like, the teacher's just there to educate you and just want to see you do your best. And if you mess up, that's okay. That's what class is for, to learn. And so now I feel like it helps me be a better student. So I think the more you're a student, the more I teach, the better student I am. And the more I'm a student, the better teacher I become. So it kind of lends itself hand in hand. So that's how I fell into teaching. So I currently teach for Harlow Studios in Diego Martin. I teach... Hi, that's my sister. Hello, Shannon.
Hello, sister.
I teach kids, toddlers, teens, and adults. I teach hip hop and contemporary at Harlow Studios in Diego Martin. I teach hip hop at Caribbean School of Dance, and I also teach contemporary for Spirit Academy, TT.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll say this. Follow Maria at social media on social media at Maria Davis TT to find out
Yeah.
more about her classes. Yes, everyone, please follow Maria. Like for real, I went through her Instagram and it's so really amazing. I'm not when I know you all are seeing like that I'm almost in awe when I talk to Maria. It's because she is that good, right?
Thank you.
So, yeah, about the stage thing. No, I used to play pan, both the panorama side as a pan soloist.
Oh, nice.
And I believe,
Mhm.
used to, and that's my young days, something. I believe that there is an energy that you get from the crowd.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not about being popular and everybody knowing who you are, because in a pan side, a large pan, that's 100, 120 people. Nobody knows who you are, but
Exactly.
there's an energy you get. And I think that's probably what you experience and what you feel when it comes to performing as a dancer also.
Yeah.
You know, it's that
Yeah.
interaction
That
yeah.
energy exchange, because it's like I get to do what I love and share this experience with y'all, and y'all are receiving that and feeling something, and it's a connection, it's an energy exchange, and it feels wonderful, and there's nothing that is like that. And I think it's exactly like you were saying, like you are in a sea of other musicians, so it can never be about you, like as a dancer. And I think that's I probably sidetracking here a little bit too again. I'm so sorry, but
Fine.
I think
We're
a
enjoying
lot
this. These
of
conversations are actually a lot of fun for me.
good. I think sometimes dancers don't know, sometimes struggle with the why they dance. That's like a big important question. Like, why do you dance? Like, why would you choose to pursue this as a career? Like, you're facing rejections. Like, you're putting your work in your, what am I trying to say? Your opportunities for work in the hands of other people. Like, it's never guaranteed. Like, it's not a steady income. All these different things. So you have to know the why. You have to know why you're doing this, and you have to love it. And a lot of the times, like, dancers think it's all about the Instagram and the popularity and the fame and the this and how cool you look and whatever thoughts people have. And it's never that. It's not about you. Like, when you're a dancer, you are a support to the artist. Not that we are insignificant, which is not what I'm saying, because we make people look amazing, but we are a supporting role to a bigger picture. So it's about the group effort and what
Yeah.
we are all here to present. So, yeah.
All right, we're gonna do one more. Well, not one more. We're gonna do another video interlude here. We're gonna take a look at Maria in I guess, a slightly different role. Let's take a look at this video.
Heaven sent you to me. I'm just hoping I don't beat history. Boy, I'm trying to meet your mama on Sunday. The nigga I love on Monday. Never need no one else, babe. 'Cause I'll be switching in positions for you. Getting in the kitchen and I'm in the bedroom. I don't need a lift, they say I'm pumping through holes. All my love infinite, nothing I wouldn't do, but I won't do. Switching for you. Getting in the kitchen and I'm in the
I chose that because it's the group setting, so that I can ask specifically, did you choreograph or assistant choreographing in that dance?
I choreographed that dance. That's all me.
That's actually just going to our next question.
Yeah.
You know, you're a choreographer and a teacher. The thing is that as a teacher, you're going to have to choreograph dances.
Yeah.
As a choreographer, you're still going to have to teach what you're choreographing. So there is some overlap. But what would you say is the biggest difference between being a teacher and a choreographer?
Okay. A little glitch in the internet happened. Could you just repeat the beginning of that question, please?
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
I was saying that you're a teacher and you're a choreographer.
Mm-hmm.
If as a teacher, you're going to have to choreograph, of course.
Right.
And as a choreographer, you're going to have to teach the choreography, right?
Mm-hmm.
But still, they're not the same thing. Teaching and choreography is not the same thing. So the question is, what do you see as the biggest difference between teaching and choreographing?
I think as a teacher, you need to know how to communicate and how to communicate in different ways, because everybody learns differently. No one person is going to receive the message the same way as the next person. So I have to teach 3-year-old children directions and timing and all these different things. I have to teach adults how to move in ways they've never moved before. So I think it's an understanding of, first of all, an understanding of your body, of the anatomy, a full understanding of what it is you're teaching, and okay, Maria, reeling, don't go on a tangent. I think a lot of people underestimate like how much you need to know what it is you're teaching in order to teach, because a lot of people just jump into the role of teacher and then don't understand the responsibility that that title holds, because people are coming to you and trusting you to educate them on something that they are ignorant on, and that is a very big responsibility. And people don't see it that way because they're like, oh, it's just a hip hop class. But if you go to that hip hop class and learn nonsense, and then you go away and learn and put yourself in a setting where you're supposed to know what you thought you knew, and then that's not the case, you set yourself up for failure. So you really have to have an understanding of your body and awareness of your body, a proper knowledge on the topic that you are teaching, and how to communicate it to people physically and verbally, to different types of people, from the person with the 2 left feet to the person who tone deaf to the person who can't understand music, all of the above. And then when it comes to choreography, I think what's different is sometimes, depending on your choreographer, I think me specifically, when I choreograph, most times, I'd say 90% of the time, I value cleanliness, precision, and detail. So I'm very detail oriented. So I'll be very specific about like exactly where your hand needs to be and where it needs to travel and how it needs to go and where things need to be placed. Other times, so I'll be very specific about that, and I'll always like make sure they're asking me questions and I'm clear with that. Other choreographers like have the escape of their movement and they could explain what it is. They could tell you, okay, especially if it's like contemporary based choreography or modern, they'll say, okay, plie, jete, a double pirouette and go, and then you understand what that is. But then if it's something a little bit more different, sometimes choreographers allow their dancers to have that freedom of expression to interpret the movement in their own individual ways. So I think that's where it kind of differs, because sometimes people could personalize the movement, and there are choreographers that are okay with that, and there's other choreographers that are like, no, let's do it exactly how I want you to do it. Yeah. So I think that's the difference.
I'll parallel that to music. Yeah. I am not a formally trained musician, but I know a little bit of music theory, right?
Right.
And there is actually something called interpretation. So if given a score, if you give the same score to 2 different people, it may actually sound different between the 2 of them, because there is some room for interpretation. Whereas a super experienced person may say, okay, no, this is exactly what it is, and that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I kind of understand where you're coming from that aspect, We had a little question there before I move on to the a little bit more on teaching, but the question asked by Andy is, what is the diet of a professional dancer like?
Ideally, I think it would be, if I just speak generally, a clean diet. Just, trying to stay away from refined, like processed foods, refined sugars, super fatty foods, like just eating clean. And that doesn't mean being restrictive. You could, you could eat carbs, you could eat, everything that you want to eat, but eat them in moderation, and make sure that what you're consuming doesn't have a lot of like on the healthy ingredients. And then people will personalize it. Some people want to be vegan and cut out the meat. Some people want to be keto and just eat all the meat. I actually, specifically for me, I am currently doing gluten-free/dairy-free, and it's really good. It's so beneficial for me. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it causes a hormonal imbalance. It's caused by a hormonal imbalance, and I find that the gluten-free and dairy-free route has been very, very, very helpful to my energy levels and my digestion and everything. So that's what I do.
Fair enough, fair enough. So
Yeah.
back to teaching now.
Yeah.
Where did you learn to teach? Is it like, did you go to school to learn how to teach dance or something? Or is it through apprenticeship? You know, you apprentice under another teacher to learn how to convey, or is it just experience in dance? You learned how to,
Yeah, I think this is going to be a touchy topic because I speak so strongly about like people who decide to go into teaching and jump into teaching and don't know how to teach and stuff. I think from a pretty young age, I was involved in the step team in St. Joseph's Convent. I was the youngest student to get chosen to be on the step team, right? Because that was the closest thing we had to like a dance.
I did not even know that St. Joseph Convent had a step team.
Yeah. I believe it's still in existence, unless they turned. It might have transitioned into a dance team, but when I was there wasn't a dance club. It was just the stepping club, and I just found it looked cool, and it was dance related. And I auditioned, and I got in, and I was in Form 2, and it was only supposed to be from like Form 4 and up. And I was the youngest student. I felt real cool. But anyway, I got involved in that, and slowly, bit by bit, they started to introduce more choreography. Like they wanted to start doing more dancing, and then they would ask me to do stuff. And then there was an opportunity in Form 4. St. Joseph's Convent, San Fernando specifically, does this thing every year called every other year called projects, which is where for 7 weeks they would invite different professionals with different skills to come in and share that skill. I think it was twice a week or once a week for 7 weeks. And then on the 8th week, there'd be an open day. And when I was in Form 4, I volunteered. I was like, I want to teach a hip hop project. And they allowed me to do it. And that had never been done before. And I taught 50 something students in the school, or like 60 something students. And it was my first time dealing with a big group like that. And it was kind of like a little shock of an experience, but right away, a lot of teachers, a lot of the students, a lot of the parents, the feedback I heard, a lot of people said that I was just like so great at communicating. I was so helpful. I like understood how to explain to people. And so my mom always says teaching is a gift, and she always tells me, I know she's my mommy, so I know she's biased. But she's always told me that I do have she sees that I have a gift for teaching and for choreography. And she's like, I know you want to do just dancing, but like put some attention into teaching and choreography. And I've done like, before I got into teaching heavily, when I moved back home, like when I would do little pop-up dance classes or like little sessions, like I would always get really positive feedback. Like, why don't you teach more? Like I learned so much from you. And then I started teaching when I came home. But to give you a more, I guess, condensed answer, I think I'm a very, very diligent student when it comes to dance, because I respect it so much and I love it so much that when I go into any dance space, I'm so focused. I ask all of the questions. I want to know all of the details and all of the things and exactly how to get from point A to point B. And I have conversations with teachers and I take notes, and I really, really study what I do. And I think because of that, I'm able to communicate it well. So I think that's what makes me a good teacher and how I got into teaching. I never properly did a teaching course, only because I teach mainly in kids dance studios at the moment. But I might do a teaching, like a certification or something later on. Yeah.
Cool. So we've looked at Maria by herself. We looked at Maria in a group. So we're going to look at Maria one more time. in another setting. Let's take another video interlude.
Come, what I did can't be undone. Kiss and chase, baby, run. Don't give my love to no one.
Bad belly when she get, you gon' try, she not forget. No forgiveness, so to the left, wanna take a real life reset. She said I don't make no effect, oh, and I say no vex, my baby don't vex, my baby don't vex, and I say no vex, don't vex, my baby don't vex, don't vex,
I just wanna get behind you on the dance floor.
So, question before we move on.
Uh-huh.
How is it different dancing by yourself, dancing with a whole group, or just dancing as part of a duet?
Oof, okay. I think dancing by yourself is actually really intimidating because it's just like you. If you make a mistake, it's all eyes on just you. There's nobody else to distract from it. So there's like a bit of an added pressure. But in the same tone, that's where you get to be you and show your personality and, just bring it all. And that could be on a stage or that could be on a video, and it's just all eyes on you.
Right.
And then when it comes to a group, you have to have that like dancer's sixth sense, I like to call it, like that hyper spatial awareness where you're really using your peripheral vision, you're really using like your spatial awareness and like being in check with like where, like understanding where you're supposed to be and your formations and your transitions and knowing exactly how to get there and what the traffic is and who have to pass behind who, and knowing your timing and having that energy and that synergy between the group to know that we're all in this together and we all doing this for the collective great, I don't know, what am I trying to say? The collective good of the group, so we all want to do this well. So let's, really be in focus and understand spatial awareness and all that kind of stuff. And when it comes to a duet, I think, not to say that this doesn't exist within a group, but I think in a duet, there has to be that connection. I think a lot of the times I see dancers I see people missing that connection, like that, and by connection, I mean like actual connection, like making some sort of like point of contact with that person while you're dancing. Like even though we are dancing for a camera, the camera is picking up the energy that we are giving to it. And if we are just like robots doing choreography, staring at the camera, then, then what's the point? And Tevin, who I did the video with, who I love that man, is so hardworking. When I tell you, his work ethic is ridiculous. He's currently touring in the UK with the Lion King. He's from Trinidad.
Nice.
And I love dancing with Tevin. His energy is always on 1,000. He's always pushing the people around him. And it's always just like good vibes, and you'll always get the best effort. So when I love that choreography. I sent him, it's a choreography cover. I sent it to him and I was like, Tevin, next time you're in Trinidad, we're learning this and we have to do it. We have to get on camera. And we did it. We were in rehearsals for Lavely, the film that Lost Tribe did last year. And we rehearsed it during our rehearsal times for Lavely, and then got on the roof, got Hamid from Extreme Dance Academy to shoot us. And we had to get that down. We love that choreography so much. So you could like visually see like how much fun we were having with each other and like doing the choreography to the camera. So yeah.
One thing I will say I like about a dancing duet is when people see them dancing together, the question comes, hey, they together or what? If the chemistry
is so good.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
No, we're not together.
All right. So something that has come up over and over again in this interview, and I said I will save it for down to the end. You've spent time abroad studying, whatever. Well, was it all study? Was it all work? That kind of stuff. What was your time abroad spent doing when it comes to dance in particular? Because you also said you did
Yeah.
dance down in UTT and
Yeah. Ooh, my tertiary education journey has been all over the place, literally. When I was like, I want to say 14, 15, probably teens in general, my passion for the arts is like unending. I love all of them. I love
right,
music. I love singing, acting, dancing. I have a love for all of them. And I always wanted to be a triple threat, and I wanted to do Broadway. That was my focus because that was what I knew. And since I was 15, 16, I started Googling like performing arts programs away. My mom knew because I wanted to dance that I would want to go away. So I was looking for pre-college programs from the time I finished CXC. I wanted to dip and do a pre-college program and then go into university and like be a Broadway star. That was the dream.
right.
Joke's on me because when CXC was over, my mom was like, nah, you're too young. You can't go to New York yet. Find something down here. And I was like, okay, fine. So I literally went into UTT. That was the only thing I found that was like a program. Because there was like no 1 year program, no 6 month program. It was the full on BFA program. So mommy was like, go do it. You could probably just transfer out after. So I did the first year. In my second year, I applied to 10 universities in the East Coast for the performing arts or the musical theater programs. I got rejected from every single one. I went into like a spiral. I was like, what am I doing with my life? The feedback I kept getting was, you should audition for the dance program. I was very stubborn. I was like, no, I want to do all three. But I got rejected from all of them. So came back to UTT for year 3. Was frustrated, and then my mom told me to just apply for community college because she was like, you probably don't have to audition. So said so done. In my 3rd year, I'm trying to like not talk too long, but the story is ridiculous. In my 3rd year, I went to a summer program in LA, and it was my first time in LA because any experiences I had prior to that were in New York. I went to LA for the first time, and I experienced the LA dance community, the LA dance scene, which is basically the hub of commercial dancing, where all the major studios, Millennium, Movement Lifestyle, Debbie Reynolds, all these, rest in peace, they all kind of closed down now because of the pandemic. But I got to train at all of these different places. I got we got personal workshops. I did a talent agency audition. We did headshots, and I got the full experience in that 3 weeks. Fell in love, and I was like, I have to go to community college there. So went to Santa Monica College for 1 semester. I did jazz, tap, modern, West African with some amazing teachers. It was intense. Unfortunately, for family reasons, there was a situation. I ended up transferring schools and switching to a school in Miami. Because things happened so quickly, I didn't do proper research, and I ended up going to Miami-Dade College for 1 semester. The teacher there the head of the dance department was the best, and so I switched finally to Broward College in Miami, where I actually got my associate degree. Again, ballet, modern jazz, choreography, theory, like all those different things. I did some flamenco too. It was a great experience. I trained heavily in commercial dance styles at a dance studio outside of school called Showstoppers Dance Studio in Miami. I was a part of the company, and I took classes like 5 times a week with them. It was literally 45 minutes away from where I live, so I was like driving up and down the highway like 4 times a week, doing heels, hip hop, contemporary, all those different things. Once I finished school in Miami, I was like, I need to go back to LA and do what I was doing before. So I got accepted into a 1 year internship at Movement Lifestyle in North Hollywood, California, where I worked in exchange for dance classes. And it was the most life-changing year for me. I trained with top choreographers. I trained with Galen Hooks. I trained with Marty Kudelka, who is Justin Timberlake's choreographer. I did a program with him. I trained with Brian and Scott Nicholson, who choreographed for Ariana Grande, auditioned for Janet Jackson, auditioned for Miguel, auditioned for Paula Abdul. I did so much in LA, and I'm so grateful for all the learning experiences that I had. I trained like a mofo, and then I came back to Trinidad because of visa situations, but I try to go back often. So that's been my experience. Oh wait.
Well, that is quite a journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have one more segment to do. This
Okay.
is where we quickly just ask you a few questions, rapid fire, short answer.
Okay.
Something we like to call the last rep.
Okay.
All right, are you
Let's
ready?
go.
10
Let's
quick
go.
questions. Let's go.
Ready.
Let's go. First question. Favorite junk food?
Oh my god. Panics. Junk. I would say ramen, sushi. I don't know if it's considered junk, but I love Japanese food. So yeah, let's go with that.
All right.
Yeah.
So you said you spend a little bit of time in the gym. So squats or deadlifts?
Squats.
Legs or chest?
Legs.
For a pick me up, if you're down, what's your go-to exercise? Dance is included, so you can say dance.
Yeah, dance or yoga. Yoga sometimes when I'm down
Right.
is ideal.
If you can train under or with one person in the world, who would that fantasy trainer or workout partner be?
Trainer.
Yeah, it could be the field of dance.
Oh, okay.
It could be. Yeah.
Oh, who haven't I trained with?
Ava Luna. I'm kidding. I thought she was.
Just because I've never experienced a class with her, Jessica Castro. She's like a OG heels teacher, choreographer in New York.
So, favorite workout music?
Afrobeats. It's very all over the place, so I like it.
Cardio or weights?
Weights. Oh God, cardio. Oh Lord, I just dance, but you see me on cardio. Not friends.
So, favorite sports? Again, dance is included if you want to say dance.
Yeah, it is a sport because we are athletes. So I would say dance.
Of course.
Yeah.
Protein supplements or diets?
Meaning like fad diets?
No, as in general nutritional habits. Which do you think you prefer to use to get to your fitness level to support your chosen sport and whatnot?
Diets.
Right. And the last and most important question, are you ready for it?
Yes.
Because you said yes at the start and you weren't ready, yeah?
I know. That's not freaking out.
TV or cinema?
Oh. Oh, that's hard. As in, oh Lord, as in like sit down and watch TV or go to the cinema.
Yes.
I'd say TV because you can have like a really nice setup. You can have like a nice big screen TV and surround sound and like good vibes and feel like the cinema. So yeah.
All right. And well, that's it. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for humoring us with those last questions. And I must say this has been an absolute pleasure to sit with you tonight, Maria.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me. This is great.
It was. All right, guys, that's it for us for this evening. Tune in next week as we have an extremely important and wonderful guest. He is the founder of Hybrid Caribbean. He is the brains behind the Hybrid Body Issue. He is Franz Gilazo, Taekwondo instructor, personal trainer and fitness instructor, strength and conditioning coach. And he will be sitting with us next week as we talk a little bit about, I guess, everything. Thanks again for joining us, for everyone who tuned in, for everyone who left a comment and communicated with our wonderful guest tonight. Thank you. See you next week.